Mary Jo Stowell with Prairie Scraps, and we are here in the DIY Arts and Crafts room. And I am super excited to be here and so thankful for Tarina and all the other leaders who are helping make this happen. If you haven't seen all the other great crafters today, in our Christmas in July event here in the DIY Arts and Crafts room. Make sure you go in there and follow those ladies and make sure you watch all the things. Do it, it's okay to go back and watch things, as a past. We can't all be everywhere at the same time. So I always go back and make sure I caught everybody. Sometimes, got to fix dinner or whatever when these events are going on. So today I am going to be using a surface that I used previously. So you can kind of see it's pretty uneven. It said, welcome to our wedding. I had made it for my son's wedding. It is a big box stores surface that I am using. It's a pre-made surface. And it was kind of like a already, like if you look at the back, this is how it looked. Pretty much on the front. I just don't want to deal with the sticker. And you could use both sides. That's a great thing about sometimes using surfaces. This one actually has two sides. I don't think they make this one anymore, the big box, store, but because I bought it on clearance, so it was pretty inexpensive anyway. But I made it up for my son's wedding, and actually another friend was having a wedding at the same time, and neither one of them were interested. So, brides these days, they have their own idea about what they're going to do. So you just got to let them do it. But so Christmas in July, and I want to first start out with, I kind of just spritzed this with water. I started out with sanding and found that it wasn't really budging all that much off of here. So I went ahead, but I did notice when I took my white to wipe it off, the black was coming off. So then what I did was I just spritzed it down. This is just a rough wood piece of surface, and spritzed it down, and most of it has come off. Can you see that? Most of it is off. So now we are going to build it back up, kind of get this going again a little bit better. And I'm thinking, so I'm going to use... Sometimes I'm just thinking on my feet, and today I'm definitely thinking on my feet because I didn't know what else to do. So I'm going to use some bright white here to kind of reestablish this paint back on here. And we're going to add some water to this. And my bright white is probably needing some water anyway. That way, whatever I have here for in the background, I like this wood look. I like this roughed up wood look. Maybe it's not your thing. You could just go ahead and use our chalk paste, to just paint it in, fix it for yourself. So I'm putting a little bit of water here in a dish and just mixing it in, and I'm going to use it kind of loosely, but I do want to get some coverage on, especially on this welcome to our wedding thing. The issue with it is I put the welcome to the wedding on the top and thought I would add flowers, but I never did add the flowers. And I think the brides were having issues like seeing the vision. I should have just seen it through to the end, done what I thought they wanted done with it, and we would have been good. But it just didn't work out. It's okay. I was making lots of signs for the wedding, and so this wasn't my only thing. I knew that this would be an inexpensive one if they wanted it. So made lots of other signs, so it's no worries on that one. So I'm just going to go until I think this is looking good. I'm just using a paintbrush, some water, and bright white paste here to just roughly paint on it. I do kind of want the wood to come through. And I'm thinking about using our sea spray on this too. So stay tuned here. This is all kind of an experiment. The one thing I know about the sea spray though, is that it does take some time for it to cure up and dry. So the area that I want to use, because I want to get this done in a reasonable amount of time for you guys to see pretty much how this is going to come together. I am going to go ahead and, just do around the outside edges. I think it would look cool. I'm inspired really by, have you seen these canvases where they do the breakaway canvas. That's what's my inspiration, where they cut a hole in the middle of the canvas and then put something behind it. I haven't even had enough patience to watch an entire video. There's lots of ladies doing it right now. And so that was kind of my inspiration. So I'm thinking by using a little bit of texture around the outside, it's going to frame it in and make it seem like it's a, you know, an old looking surface, which, at this point, it definitely does not look like it's a new one because I've done some sanding and I see some W right there for the big W. That was a nice solid W. So it goes to show that even sanding is not going to necessarily take off your paste. If something, accidentally gets added on, like scratched up or whatever, you're not going to lose your pictures right off the bat. So when you use our chalk paste, once it cures and it dries, it is pretty good stuck on there. You have to really kind of work at getting it off. I see some kind of thick spots. I'm going to add a little bit of, spritz a little water into that and get it off. I don't want it to look like I gobbed my paste on here. I just want it to go on there. So that's what we're going to do. Make sure you get over there and check out the rest of the Christmas in July videos in the DIY Arts and Crafts group. I love that group because I can just go in and find all kinds of ideas and inspiration. And I know that if I, post my things over there too, that it's gonna like get positive feedback from people. I don't know about you guys, but even if I don't necessarily like a craft project, I'm always looking for that positive. I want somebody to say, oh, that looks amazing. So that's the place for it. The DIY Arts and Crafts group is a wonderful place to get, positive feedback and kind of get extra kudos when you need it. Or ideas. Ideas are a great thing. I always just kind of search out whatever transfer I'm trying to do and then go from there for ideas. I think I'm going to have to actually go on here thicker in this spot because I can see that W. I feel like because I know the W is there, that's maybe why I see it. Who knows? All right, we're going to give this a dry here. So I don't know what you guys are up to for the weekend, but we are having a very busy weekend. My daughter is a fair royalty, so we are finally starting to run. We're about a month and a half out, almost done. We're on the home stretch here. And so we just have a couple more parades left. But the next 2 weekends, this weekend and next weekend, are parades for the princess. So then after that, it's just the fair parade. Once she will be just till the end of fair for princess-ship or princesshood. So that's exciting. And Sunday is my other daughter's birthday, her 14th birthday. Oh my gosh, my baby is going to be 14. Oh, they grow so fast. So enjoy them while they're there. They grow so fast. So we're having parties. We're having a family party for that. So that's exciting. All right, here we go. I think that's going to be good. Can you see? I don't think it's going to be something you really see. I might focus on putting my church. You can see it's lighter right here. There's kind of a big spot. I think that's where I'm going to put that church in right there. So it's just kind of in there anyway. All right, so to get to that inspired, I'm going to put a little bit of this sea spray. I can never think of what it's called. I'm sorry. In here, and I'm thinking about, because the next color you want, I think I want to put the church in our new espresso color. It is such a beautiful color. And so I wanted to sort of tie into that, but not not too much, I guess. I don't want to be obvious about using only espresso everywhere. And I know that the last time I used espresso with the sea spray on my last project with it, it was a little more dark than I wanted. So I'm kind of looking for, well, bark would be a shade lighter. I'm kind of looking for my, oh, I know what I did. I had lost it last time. I couldn't find camel. I can never find camel. I think I'm going to use some camel. That is the color we're going to use. I don't know why gray is way back there. And I want to make sure I'm using, I don't know how I got these up here. Yep, I'm using the correct one. I had tried to mix my own sea spray. I'm just telling you, I'm here to be your witness. I'm here to be your witness. We are in church today. That it is not a good idea to make your own form. You know, if you've ever seen those videos where you use baking soda and add it to your, I don't know. I made a mess out of that. I've had much better luck with this Dixie Belle sea spray that we carry. And so that's what we're going to use today. I'm going to try to get out some camel. I guess I finally dried up my camel. Isn't that something? That is something. Maybe camel isn't going to be a thing today after all. I'm just kind of digging into the meaty part here because I think it'll work as long as I add enough water to this. So I'm going to add the camel. I don't know why, but I avoid camel. I don't like the look of it. See that camel? It looks, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's such a weird color to me. So I'm going to add quite a bit of water into that dish that I'm going to mix in. And we're going to see if we can come up with a concoction here. This is sort of like crafting science. I'm onto the science kick because this week my girls went to 4-H food science class. And so that's on my mind. If you were wondering why I'm coming up. But this feels like a little bit of crafting science here. And this I'm thinking this might not even work because this is just not softened up. I think I'm going to set that aside. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. I'm going to end up using my bark, I think. This is bark. Bark is a little bit lighter shade than the espresso. I really love bark as well. But like I said, all my projects, I feel like I'm always trying to avoid camel. And at the end of the day, I end up using camel because it works right. Like for gingerbread men for Christmas, camel is your color. Everything else, the bark is too dark. So we're going to add some bark into this. And let's see how we can. This might be like a color that has never been mixed and enjoyed before, because now I've got a little bit of camel in my bark water, and then we're going to be adding in a little bit more. Never before. A little bit of our sea spray. Now this is like a chalky additive to create a chippy, textured, and weathered look. That's what it's called. So we're going to put this right into here, scoop up a little bit. I'm just going to use my squeegee to put some in. It's just like this fine powder. I'm going to put it in there, and we're going to just see how it goes. And you do want to be a little careful with it because you don't want it to be like, oh, and I just grabbed a little bit of camel. The camel is softening up. The more you let your paste sit in the water, the more it'll soften up. That'll totally reconstitute. That camel will reconstitute itself. But I never have patience for things to dry. If you watch me enough, come join me over at Prairie Scraps and see all my my mishaps and whatnot. Or I'm here in the DIY group quite often, so you just never know. But and I'm going to use a little bit different technique. Do you guys like watch crafting techniques and then sort of obsess about it? That's what I've been doing. I've been obsessing a little bit about how to get this sea spray. I'm going to use a little bit more. I'm going to be a little more heavy with my sea spray here. And FYI, when you have a new jar of sea spray, do not leave your squeegee sitting in the top because it will sink down in there. Okay, that's looking a little bit better texture. It's sort of like brownie mix. That's what you want to have for a texture. So I've got a little bit of bark in there. I've added water in there. I've got a little bit of bright white, which isn't really doing a whole lot, and then a little bit of camel. So we're just kind of getting an off color. And honestly, I always think camel looks a little bit too much like, I think it looks like poo. I don't know. Sorry if that offended you, but that's what, I don't know. It's not my favorite, but like I said, it is the perfect color for gingerbread men. So if you were, and now I've got the browns all over this jar. But if you are trying to do the, the perfect gingerbread man, camel is your color. And it's a lot of other colors too. So don't, I'm just giving it a bad rap because it's not my favorite color. And like I said, I try to avoid it at all costs because I don't like it. All right. So while this is wet, I'm going to actually, instead of using my brush to put it on, I am actually going to kind of scrape it on with my squeegee. So I don't know if you can see this, if we're too far away. I hope you are not. I'm going to put you down so you can see better. I think it seems so far away. This is the first time. There we go. All right. It seems so far away. This is the first time I've used StreamYard. So bear with me. There's a learning curve. And I'm wanting to kind of put it on in the grain of the wood. So I'm just going around and squeegeeing it on. This is it. Kind of like you do when you use your transfers. I'm just trying to get a little bit of texture around the outside edges. And I also know, I know that I'm going to be able to get this off if I want. This does dry extremely hard, just so an FYI. At first, it kind of still will move around a little bit for a while. But once it dries, it is hard, hard, hard. So just be aware that it's going to dry up really hard. And if you don't want to do a lot of scrubbing on it, because as you can see, I just curled it up like chocolate. So you don't want to do that. You want it to be kind of down. There are some rougher edges here, and it already, I can see where I really kind of like the look of it. Oops, and that is, maybe I'll add a little bit of water there so I can work with it a little bit better. I got that almost too dry. So I'm just going around the outside edges. Oh, that worked really good. I don't know if you can see that. But I want to show you that. Isn't that nice? I know it just looks like I put chocolate all around the outside at this point, but bear with me, bear with me. We got more to come here. But I have to say, I think, as far as adding on, this is maybe the better way to do it. I'm going to do a little bit more. This time I put the spray of water on my squeegee. Oh, yes, that's good. Because I don't want it to look like it's peeling chocolate. I want it to look like it's texture. All right. I know you all might think I'm a little on the brave side to try to do this and get it to dry. Maybe I should have done it ahead of time. Just know that it's probably better if you can get it to dry longer than not. It's better not to have to wait for it to dry because it does, like you can see when I'm on it. All right. I don't know. So I think we're going to do a little bit more of our painting here. I'm going to kind of set that aside. And I'm going to use my brush and some water, and we're going to set that sea spray aside. Hopefully I'm not getting my white shirt all dirty. That would not be fun. All right. And actually, going from the bright white, I am going to move into using our new vanilla, which I am in love with. I love, love, love it. Okay, let me get this more into your space there. Okay. it feels like a new angle because it's a new program. So I apologize in advance if you're not seeing good. I'm going to do my best. Just goes to show that anybody can really do this. Anybody can do this. All right, so I'm going to move into the vanilla. And I like to spray water on my brushes to use them. I like them being a little on the wet side. And actually, I still had a lot of white, bright white in there. So we're going to kind of go with that. And I'm going to add that to my bright white center because I want it to soften up. Remember, we used the bright white in the middle. And really, I should get this, before I wet this again, I need to get some stuff dry here. So bear with me. I'm going to get that sea spray more dry. Oops. I'm just pressing some of the rough edges down so they, I don't want sharp edges. It's sort of like a clay. So, you can kind of mold it a little bit, but you want it to look rough. You want it to look. I think I keep doing the sea spray stuff in our DIY events. I think I did it last month too. And the reason is I know it takes longer for it to dry and everything, and I know I have a little bit longer period of time to work, so it helps. So I'm gonna be drying here and painting at the same time. So I'm gonna be adding just vanilla here in the middle, and I'm kind of letting the white be there. I'm letting the brown. I do want it sort of to blend in. So more of like an old wood look. That's my vision. With like more of a frame around the outside. And it is a little bit grabbing some of that brown. I'm gonna be, you guys, I'm gonna be out of vanilla before you know it. Because I have switched almost entirely using vanilla for everything because I love it. It's just a softer, it's not an off, I guess it is sort of an almondy off-white. It's not. I am getting a little bit of mix from my outside edge because I want it to blend a little bit, have a little of that brown in there, a little bit of white. What was that song? Little bit of something in your life. It's all the women's names. And I remember it has Rena in it because my mother-in-law's name is Rena. It's kind of a weird name. A different name. Shouldn't say weird, but different name. All right. We're starting to get to the point around the edges. I don't know if you can see this, but it kind of looks um, like an animal print because it's got darker spots and lighter spots. And what I found is that darker spot is really where it's not dried up yet. So it'll start to get more and more dry and then lighten up. So don't fear too much. But I don't know if you can see my vision here. Trying to hit up those spots that are, I can tell, even when you touch it, it kind of just feels a little bit like clay. I don't want to take off the nice edges on it, the old look to it, but I do want to make this look more blended, not like it's an animal printed on the outside. So if you've been watching all day in the DIY arts and crafts room, why don't you put down below what are the ones that you have watched that stick out in your mind? What did you like? What were your favorite ones? I want to hear what would you highly recommend? And two, I want to encourage you that if you have not tried, if you bought the sea spray right off the bat, kind of excited like I did, and you're a little bit afraid to use it, get it out and start trying. I think it's so much fun. This ends up kind of just combining like all the like a little bit of depth and color to it. If you can see that, it is starting to lighten up, and I think I'm getting impatient, so I apologize for that, but I'm going to just come in with another coat of paste here on top of all of this around the edges. And so what I wanted to do is sort of, oops, that's looking right down there. It's looking like I came in with a paintbrush. We don't want it to look like that. So I want to make sure I want to do a little blending so it doesn't, a little more, so it's a little more subtle, but it's going to show through any sort of painting I do on top of this because it's the texture, right? Get some more wetness so that goes on smoother. And I'm going for more I'm going for more colors, more texture. I want it to sort of look frame, but I don't want it to be an obvious look. We're not going for the cutaway crap so much, but that's where I got my inspiration. And if you find that you go too heavy around the outside and it doesn't show the extra color, you can always go back through and do a little bit of sanding to bring that back and bring it back to that. It is hard to believe. Do you guys have teenagers? I have two teenage girls, and we have an exchange student from Japan here who's so now three teenage girls. And I have to say, when we did exchange students with my son around, he evened everybody out. And we've been functioning with just girls for about 2 years now, but still some days I'm like, I am so exhausted. This girl thing is a thing. I know Miss Tarina, who's doing all the running around here for this event, she has all boys. So but now they're marrying in the girls. So that's good, right? It's good to get those in. So I think I'm getting just enough of like sort of a runoff from all of the outside. It's kind of blending in with my vanilla paste as I'm painting it on. I'm not actually bringing it in purposefully necessarily, but it is coming in to the middle even because I am grabbing, from the outside, from the inside, and it's kind of grabbing in that. So I want it to look a little bit streaky. This is just, I don't know, you could do it however you want. You don't have to. You can go, I'll probably go around the outside edge and maybe even do a little bit of extra sanding. But so far, that's what we've got. I don't know what you guys think. Please let me know what you think. Would you do this? Would you not do this? I think there's a little bit of a learning curve to this. And so it may not turn out exactly how you plan the first time, but so far I can only speak for one other project. That my other project, I thought it was going to be a disaster kind of at this point, and really it turned out beautifully. So at the end. All right, so I think I'm going to stick with this, and we're going to go ahead. And ultimately, we can always sand it down and go back to 0, or I can work on that sticker on the back and do the other side if I think this is not good. But I think it's just going to look sort of Western-ish. We're going to end up with our Christmas in July. Christmas winter church. Looking a little bit weathered, and I like the farmhouse look, but maybe a little bit Western. I live in Idaho, so I think it's okay if I do a little Western, even though I'm not a cowboy, but I definitely have a lot of people in my area that love cowboy-ish things, and definitely have my fair share of friends that are cowboys, cowgirls. Been doing a lot of rodeos this summer, so we've got to know the rodeo's queens and princesses. That's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I have a couple of my guitar students too in my studio. I found out they're 8 and 9 years old. They're running barrels. So adorable. I was so excited. I had no idea. Like, oh, I knew that little girl. She was so cute. They were so cute. So cute. Okay, I think we are about ready. And I am going to come in real gently with some, because this is still like that outside edge. When I touch it, I can feel moisture. But I am not going to get that completely dry right now today, because otherwise we won't get a church on here. We got to go to church, right? I actually just touched the spot and it felt very wet. I want to make sure I got it. I got her on here. All right. I think it's a good base to start with. I'm going to put some wax on here because I want to seal it up. When I put my transfer on here, I don't want it to pop off or come off too much. Although, like I said, we're kind of, where's my, there it is. Like I said, though, too, I'm looking for the layers. So we're just going to put a little surface wax on here. You don't want to go heavy, but you do want to prevent it from coming up when you use the transfer on there. And usually anything wood you do, or unsealed, you do want to wax it. So I'm going to try to get it on here. It's also going to bring out some of this edging and stuff that I have on here. Now, you may not want to bring in more of the brown in the middle or whatever, the bark and the mixture with the, what is my least favorite color? Camel. I can never remember because I don't like it. Okay, let's get going on this next part. Okay, so I'm going to use the new transfer. I was kind of messy on that round. That stuff is a little bit on the messy side. Like I said, it's kind of got a texture that sea spray has, a little bit of texture of clay. So this church is called Winter Church. If you're looking for it, get with your designer. If you have not gotten a chance to get your Christmas transfers yet, this is a good time to do it. Because it's going to be in there. And this has got lots of lines to cut apart here. Someone was just commenting on one of my posts, like they're not a crafter because they can't cut a straight line if they wanted to. You are about to witness that I am a crafter and I cannot cut a straight line because I can't. But fortunately, this church has lots of crooked lines kind of going for it. So I have a hard time cutting within these lines. I don't know why. I'm just not really good at it. So don't judge me. It's okay. Anybody can craft with these transfers because it's so much fun, number one, and two, they turn out so good. Okay, we are going to get this good and waxed, and I don't want to do it on top of here because I think that's still kind of wet. We're gonna get this fuzzed. Did I say waxed? I already waxed. We're gonna fuzz this. And you could do any part of this church. You wouldn't have to do the whole church. I'm going to try to fit the whole church in, but we might not do some of the edges. Ooh, I got some of that scratch in there. It's like chicken scratch, all that little sea spray. Don't want it on the back side because that'll lift up your silk transfer. This is a silk transfer. You can use it up to 12 times. That's what the company says. If you take really good care of it, or, just depending on what you're using it for, you probably will get more out of it than 12. So start thinking of all those things you could do. Some really great ideas out there. I'm going to look at this. Okay, I can't even tell. I guess this is the lighter area. So I'm going to try putting the church right here. But I can't even tell where that welcome was anymore. I honestly, I'm looking at it and I can't even tell. So we're going to just sort of center, but not really center this right here. And then put this down with no bubbles. And then we're going to just do the entire thing with the same colors. And this is going to be a little not perfectly, lined church, because this board is seen better days. It's kind of like bowed a little bit. It's not perfectly sitting, but I'm going to do my best to get this down. And then we're going to use that espresso paste and put this on here and get it nice and spread out. Use my yearly squeegee. Okay, how are we doing for time? Oh, we're good. We're good. We're going to get this church down for sure. All right. Here we go. I guess we could do that. There is snow on the church. That's what makes it winter. But there's lots of things you could do with this church. It's going to be, I'm excited. I was excited when it came out. I'm also excited about some of the other parts. I don't know if you noticed, but there's also, I'll show you in a minute here after we get done with this part of it. But there are also some other parts of it, like you can add wreaths to the windows, which I think we're going to do today. We'll see how much time we have and how this all turns out, right? I think this is going to be really pretty, though. Want to make sure you fill in all the white spots. The white spots are the places where you're going to have color come off, and anything green or teal is going to end up being the part that you don't get color in. And you want to pull your transfer from the center and take it easy. I know to take it easy because my transfer, has the bumpy wood. But oh my goodness, you guys, I am so excited about this already. Is that not beautiful? Holy cow. I love it. I love it. And it does kind of look like it's framed. I'm not going to lie. I have some thoughts about this middle part, and I don't know if I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to set this back on the backing, and I will wash that later in the sink as soon as we're done here. But take a look at all these. There's some little deer. There's a cardinal. There's a couple of stars. Here's a set of 3 stars. Maybe we'll do that. But I love this. Check out this little sleigh. It's got like, I don't know if it's little kids in it with the horse. Oh my goodness. People are going to love that here. I'm not going to lie. People are going to love that. So I'm thinking about putting some of these extras along the edge or even in the background. I'm not exactly sure. But I did talk to you about that wreath, right? So I'm thinking about doing the wreath on the wreaths on the windows. And I might do it in this upper part. It does kind of like, let me show you how that is. See those, there's like a little cross on the lower part. I think I'm going to do it on the upper part with some green. Maybe I should just do it on the door. I don't know. Let's think about this. I can be very indecisive. I can overthink all of my projects, that's for sure. I do feel like maybe a saying of some sort could go here for Christmas. I don't know if I've got any holiday words. Oh my goodness. My daughter was digging through stuff, and I can clearly see that she made a mess and folded over all my words. Oh no. She is in trouble. That girl. She was in a rush this morning, so she She was digging in stuff, but I was going to look and see if we've got, I know this is my holiday. I don't think I have Christmas in here, actually. Now that I think about it. This says holidays. This is how it's over full. And so I know I have a second one that's maybe I can find it. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I might use some, if you guys have some great ideas for what to put for a holiday saying of some sort that's kind of churchish, I don't know. Let me know. Because I think this is kind of an empty area there. All right. What should we do? Oh, I'm probably going to get some green out here, I think, and let's do some wreaths. I'm trying to decide if I want to do just a wreath on the door. Oh, why can't I get that shut? Chalk paste is not shutting for me. Let's get you up a little bit. There we go. Sorry, I'm cutting off my head, but I find it's just closer up that way. All right. I don't know if I have any Christmas. Could do silver white winters. This one would be a nice, you could use some glitter with it. That would be really cute. I don't know. We might just build up the church today and can't see my. And if it seems kind of weird, the little space I'm in here, it's because it is. I'm in my little Airstream camper, and so I'm kind of shoved in, limited for space, but it's okay. I feel blessed to have it. It's my grandfather's Airstream. So it's kind of cute. But I'm very jam-packed. After I got moved in, my husband peeked in because he moved it out front for me. And he was like, if I would have known you were going to fill it this far, I should have maybe moved that, the bigger one around, because we have a bigger one that we actually camp in. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was an option. Okay, so I've got moss and I've got sage. Let's see, or pesto. That one's pesto. I kind of like the pesto. It's more of a brown color, I think. That sounded like it was in my yard. Maybe the mailman pulled in? I don't know. I'm home alone. I'm home alone. Got the kids off, doing all their stuff. All right. Well, has anyone decided what I should do for my wreath? What should we do for the wreath? First, we'll cut it out, and then we'll make a decision. I think it was maybe this is kind of a small piece for the bow. So we're going to have to be extra special careful. While I was digging, I should have grabbed the red. I'm also thinking about a little bit of pine trees in the background. Show you how we do that. I think I might just leave that on there because I'm a little concerned about. How does that look? That looks kind of big. I think I'm going to do it on the front of the church. Just put a big wreath over the door because the door seems really little. Just like that. Okay. So this could be as elaborate or as easy as you want. Like I said, I might be looking for a little Christmas saying to put right here. You could do the background in blue, like a dark, a darker blue color. That would be gorgeous. All right, we're going to get this little wreath here. And this is being done in pesto. Slow, slow, slow when you have multiple. Ooh, I kind of like it because it's very faint. So it's not, I was worried about the coloring, like adding too much color. But it is really kind of teeny tiny. So That's good. All right, we're gonna set that here, or side here. And I think I'm gonna try to do at least one tree right here. I'm gonna show you. I did a fall sign recently where I used those vegetables, and I had a spot in the back that looked extremely empty to me after I got it done. I put the corn on the cob on there. It was the harvest ones. And then I put a wheat on there, and it felt like it needed something filling the background. And a pumpkin fit there perfectly, but it was the last thing I put on. But by putting it on the way I did, it actually looked like I put it on first, because it looked like it was in the background. So that's kind of what I'm really enjoying about these more etched transfers, that with more high, like more artwork on these. It's like allowing us to really have a detailed, oh, can't find it, it's right next to me. I have to put things back the same way. It's these etched, paintings slash designs are just, they have so much detail that you're able to really add to it. So we're gonna see if we can make this tree look like it's in the background. And so what I'm doing, you can kind of see it's totally, I may not even do I'm just going to do this part of it that I see from the church over. So here's the church line right here. I'm only going to do the green on this right here, and I'm not going to do the little bit down there. And this is going to give me a little bit of green on this side to go with my green on the above the door. So it is a little tricky to get it on there, but because what I do is I like to I'll take either a squeegee, and actually a squeegee might work the best in this situation. I'll take my mini squeegee and just go along that line and go from that point on. It's sort of like painting, but it's not as specific. So we're just gonna go kind of quick here. We don't want our paste to dry in the transfer, because that makes it pick up when we pick up our transfer. So I'm going to try to work quickly, yet working in the lines, right? That's the most difficult part. And we're not doing that little trunk there, even though it's sticking out from the edge of the church. And the reason for that is I don't want to put the trunk needs to be brown, in my opinion. And I don't want to put the brown in there. I'm worried about that. All right, I'm just going to go over this outside edge and make sure I got everything. And then we're going to peel that before it gets too dry. Oh, I see the tip top of my tree looks white yet. I don't want any white. Okay, here we go. And it's amazing when you do this, because my husband was like, oh my gosh, like you must have put that pumpkin on first on my fall one. It kind of peeled off there, and I don't think I can fix it this way, but I'm going to give it a try. It's okay. Slow but sure. Okay. All right. Isn't that amazing? It looks like that tree is behind it, doesn't it? Got to have pine trees in our churches here. Here in the West, we have our trees. And there's a little bit of peeling here. That's totally fine. You could go in even and do a little bit of watercoloring in there and cover that up if you'd like. We're going to take that bow and get that. I like bows on the bottom of my wreaths. What about you guys? Do you like bow on the bottom of your wreath or the top? Inquiring minds want to know. I like mine on, we're going to use some cherry. I like mine on the bottom. I don't know, it just feels right. Just feels more right to me. I don't know why. I think it just is a personal preference. Entirely personal preference. Okay. I'm gonna get our, oops, what did I just, oh yeah, I couldn't see that. It was so tiny. All right, just a little bit of red here for the bow. Perfect. Guys, I'm pretty excited about this. Now, if you did this on really dark, wouldn't that look just beautiful? You could go in and paint this white, more white, but it kind of just happened that my lighter spot is there and it's not showing letters at all. Remember, this said, "Welcome to our wedding" before. I could also do just like some sort of Christmas bow here and call it good, because we don't need to have, you know, a super amount of, you don't have to have a ton of fill in or anything on this. I don't think. I think you can be as simple or as complicated as you want. If you want to feel a little artsier, keep adding, keep adding. I'm gonna, and we might keep adding here too. This little cardinal though, it seems really big. Like here, it's as big as the, I feel like if I did see one where they put this little cardinal on the top and it looked really cute, but it's so big compared to that. I think I'm just going to skip it. I was thinking the cardinal could go there. The other thing I'm thinking about is possibly, I could have done this first, was I could have put a deer here and then put the church around the deer. And that would make it look like the deer was in the front. But at this point, if I go over the top, I'm going to have these lines from the church building on on the background of my deer, unless I go in and fill the deer in really, really well. I don't think that's going to work. Okay, what else do we got here? I do like that little sled. That little sled is also very cute. I think we're going to add another tree. Got just a tad bit of red, a little piece of red there, dry piece of red that came out. I'm going to get some water in here. I've actually almost used all my cherry too, and a lot of times I use about half my cherry, then I don't use it again, and for the most part until the following Christmas, and then it's dried out again. But this year, cherry came out this year. I love the color cherry. It's really pretty. Oops, and there I gave a demonstration of it across the thing. All right, let me show you where we're at right now. I just think it's gorgeous. Just a tad little wreath there, very faint, nothing super outgoing. Even with that red bow on there, I think it looks pretty phenomenal. The bow on the bottom for me, bow on the bottom for me. Okay, I'm thinking about doing another tree in the background. So I'm gonna see. The nice thing about our transfers is you can see through them, so I can kind of put it on there and just see what I think. Of course, now I got a couple transfers stuck together, and that's not a good thing because they last year we had a church that came out. Sometimes when the transfers stick together, they cause each other harm. So they do not put your transfers together. Don't stick them together. It's not a good thing. They're like ugly siblings. They don't get along. They don't get along at all. Try to teach my kids to get along with their siblings, but you know, it's not always successful, right? See, you could do like different levels of them back here. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a really tall one back here. You're not going to know because you don't see where the bottom of it is. And so we're going to look like we're in Idaho forests. 78% of my county is forest. So right now we are having forest fires. Not so fun. But in the winter, we have these beautiful trees. I'm going to start right here on the line. And we'll see. I probably am going to want a third tree at least. I like to do things in 3. When you're decorating, you should do things in odd numbers. And I'm going to overlap a tish. Just a tish here with the trees. And I think it's just going to add more layers, but I don't know. We're going to try it out. I'm not an artist in any way. I love to craft. I'm not really great at ideas, so a lot of my ideas do come from other people. Like I said, this outside area that I did, that was totally an idea that I've been watching other people do something else on online. So I think it totally turned out fine. If you wanted it to look, like more dark and light, you could just go ahead and use a little bit lighter shade of green or mix a little of that vanilla in there or whatever. I think you could even take and put snow on, with this sea spray around there. But I love how it looks. I am very pleased with how it looks. A little brown. It's definitely got the edges. It's even, it just looks great. I love it. I am a fan of that sea spray every time. When I'm doing it, I think I'm making a mess. And then when it turns out, okay, I had 2 trees. I have lost a tree, you guys. It's in here somewhere. Yikes. Oh, there it is. It's stuck to the back of this. Okay, sorry about that little interruption, but I did get that third tree put on. And I just wanted to thank everybody in the DIY Arts and Crafts Room for this Christmas in July. Merry Christmas, ho, 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 and all the great things. But here is that finished one. I just put one more of those pine trees right up there. Isn't that gorgeous? I actually don't think it needs anything on the top anymore. I think it stands alone. What do you guys think? Let me know. Would you put something up here on the top white part, or would you be done? I hope you all have a very blessed evening, and make sure you keep on crafting. Bye-bye now.